Helle?
Good morning, Sophia. Good morning to everyone.
How are you?
I'm okay. A little tired today, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even
I just woke up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, even me, I normally get up at 6. So I don't know, getting up at 5 is also a little something else.
It's quite early, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite early. But I actually feel really good because it's like, first of all, I need to do this at the 6, so it gets me up. But also lately I really had I also have my coach, so she's really giving me like some good tasks, or like we also meet in some groups where we the coaching at 6 o'clock. But I can really see how that changed my life. Like it really made a big difference for me getting up in the morning. I really feel motivated. And also the way you can, I mean, maybe if you guys, I don't know if all of you already wakes up really early, but before I found it really hard, but now I'm super motivated. And I can really see you kind of, you need that in order to be able to do what you really want. Like if you need time for yourself and your meditation and your practice and your other life, so or your part of your life.
And it requires too that you and other goes early to bed to get up early. That's sometimes a bit difficult for me, but I'm learning.
Yeah. Normally you get so tired at 10, so it's great if you get up at 5. So we have also Jan. I'm so excited, Jan, you can join us today. I'm sorry you've been having some troubles joining our room.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I'm happy you found your way. But you've seen the replays from the other days.
I have.
Yes, perfect.
Amazing.
And we also have Sika. Sika, how are you doing this morning?
Fresh as always.
Great. That's great. So it's also, I'm just going to give 2 more minutes. I guess it's also the full moon. So I don't know if any of you have actually been able to see the moon. In Copenhagen, it has not really been visible, but maybe...
I believe I saw it. No, that was back home in Hillerød. We are in Sweden right now. So I haven't seen it yesterday.
Should be today, right? Or tomorrow, this night and today. So
all right.
We get a little glimpse, but we do get like the benefit of the full moon. I always feel it's good, it's, as we know, it's a good time to release, but it's also like I feel really energized, when the full moon, kind of a little bit on speed. So it's like, so you really, it's also, you get a lot of benefits. I don't know if you, Rasmus and Martin just told me they make a spatio ceremony yesterday, and it's so beautiful to work around the cycles and with the moon, and also if you have any crystals, etc., to remember to put them out in some kind of moonlight if that's available. That's really beautiful. I think we can start, I think, because I have a lot to show you today, so I want to start talking about the card I draw today, which is quite amazing. This card came up in the meditation, and it's called about being multidimensional, and it's this card really comes up quite often for me, but I was drawing this for the group also, but I'll put out a reading for this a little bit later today. But this is, of course, again, what we are working at, that's working on other dimension, working on your awareness and your consciousness, to remember that we are being of higher consciousness, that we are not only 2-dimensional. So I think this is always a really good reminder. Just need to step in my camera like this. So this is really beautiful. The frequency of multidimensionality activates our awareness of our true essence, which is eternal and multidimensional. So also for this full moon, of course, the full moon is always a good time to let go of unwanted things, emotion, or a relation that's not really serving you in your life. this full moon is also to take back your own power and stand up for yourself. So I thought this is also, it's a really good time to start this journey and this transformation, because the moon and this cycle is really gonna give you an extra power and energy to take a step in this direction. So I really love all these messages from the universe that we get all the time. It's so exciting, some kind of guidelines. And it's called actually the Hunter's Moon, and it's one of the last full moons of this year. What I wanted to share with you, which also like being multidimensional, is this flower of life, the sacred geometries that I work with, and also some of my crystals. These are not actually crystals in itself. It's resin, Hapix resin, and then it has crystals inside. And this one, it's actually comes from a very special mountain in the States. It's made in the States as well. And all these crystals, these are for the house and for the food. But I also have some chakra crystals that I'll be wearing. Not like this. I have this. This is more like a, it's like the master crystal, that contains a lot of nice or beautiful ancient energy to heal ourselves. So I work with these quartz. This is from Brazil, and then really when you look inside, you can really see all this information. And also, I've been working with these crystals for a while, and that's it. It kind of for transformation, it's also really great. You know, it kind of boosts up your. We have Marie coming in. So the crystals. Good morning, Maria. She's just connecting to your audio. Let's see. Good morning, Maria. Oh, I have to wait a little bit. So the crystals really has been speeding up my healing process, I would say. Good morning, Marie. Welcome. I'm just talking about crystals. So yeah, so I use them for different purposes, but really in this transformation, of course, it's kind of an extra layer, but it's just to tell you that it really works to clean the frequency of the food, but also your self-development or self-transformation. It's kind of speed up this process of the unwanted layers. So these ones, they're tuned into different frequencies, different chakra frequencies, like, you know, and down here, the chakra. So I use these, they're all, not all, they have different frequencies. And what they do with this spiral as well, so they clean all kind of energies, and I heard they said it's actually can higher the vibrations in the food. And I really feel that, you know, if you believe in it or not, I really feel that. I really feel that, you know, it kind of gives an extra dimension. Also, it takes away magnetic frequencies. So I also use this in the room where I sleep to put. I actually have 3, to make a triangle to clear the space. So I really also recommend that, you know, for you to get extra energy and to get a little bit of better sleep. And just overall, of course, in your house is really good. And especially, I always carry one crystal with me, maybe here or maybe in my pocket or somewhere in these times, because I mean, there's so much magnetic frequencies that we need to clean from all the time. And that's also what we talk about, the food and the water yesterday, that it's so important to clean and to keep clear of these frequencies because they interrupt with our system. This flower of life is a geometry that I work with both in the meditations and the food. And it's one of our most ancient and sacred symbols. It says to be 6,000 years old. And it really contains a vital information. And it's dated back to 645 before BC. And the King, how do I pronounce it? Ashurbanipal temple. And it's like the creation of all, the whole universe and the creation of all structures, and also what you find in the food. So this is like, when you start to work with this and you amplify this in meditation, it really gives you like a higher connection or to the source. So this is kind of another topic that I will not talk too much about today, but I just wanted to share with you. Maybe you can research a little bit yourself about the sacred geometry, and also with the solfeggio frequencies that I shared a frequency this morning in the group. Also, they also work on a deep layer of healing, and together with these sacred geometry, it's really effective. So it's just also when you start to look into, as Dr. Seppi talks about, the structures of the vegetables and the original ancient produce. It's so beautiful when you start to look. I'm sure if you look into every single vegetable, you find the structure. Like maybe it's this is the kind of the mother of all structures, and these are constructed from this. So it's all about information. It's all about structure and the messages that you receive to your body through the food, and that's why it's so important. So yes, so that was just a little bit about crystals and sacred geometry that I work with. So today I'm super excited that we're going to work with the sea moss. I had a lot of requests on the sea moss because I've been posting some information. I'm also producing some sea moss gel that I sell to people in the house. So because it's not really like because it's a great business, it's because I really like it. And I mean, of course, if you set up a proper business, it's probably also a good business, but I do it more because I'm passionate about it and all the benefits that the sea moss has. So what is sea moss? Maybe you guys already see it. It's a vegetation that's growing wild, and it's mostly in the Caribbean, but it's also in the cold Nordic seas, actually. And here I have the sea moss that we're going to work with today. It looks like this, and you're going to see the transformation when it's soaked. It's so amazing. So here it just looks like it's crumbled. This is like a golden sea moss from San Lucia. So this is not from the Nordic regions. Actually, when we went to recently the north of Denmark, I found quite a lot there as well. So it's easy to find all in our region as well. It's just it doesn't look the same. It depends on where it's harvested and if it's been in cold or warm water. So this is the lighter one that's been in the warm water, more warm water, and then you also have the purple ones. So they have different colors, and some of them are very kind of fine in the texture, and some of them are more a little more rough. So they have there's different kinds. So sometimes you don't even think it's the same, but it's actually the same sort of so it's on a sort of seaweed. And what you have to look, because it's wild grown, you really have to look that it still has the salt on it, and that's normal. But that we rinse out when you start working with it. So so that's like a little bit about the sea moss. So the sea moss, I'm just gonna get it up from over here. This is how it looks when it's soaked. And I just want to show you the difference, not to get water all over, but so this is how it looks when it's, hold on 1 second. This is how it looks like when it's been in water for 2 days. So you really see this beautiful structure. It almost looks like our veins, also the food. It's so cleansing, and you can also just see it of the structure of the seaweed, how it's gonna work with our body. So that's also the beautiful thing, like the shape. And actually, when you say a walnut, then it maybe looks like the brain, then it's good for the brain, these kind of things. So I think it goes for the same with the seaweed or anything. And what is so interesting about the seaweed, that it has 92 essential minerals. So, and actually, if you combine it with bladderwrack, Blairtang that we have a lot of here in Denmark, you get 98 minerals, and this is 98 minerals out of 102 that we need for our body. So what does it do, the sea moss? It supports our, it's like oxygen for our cells. So it's amino acids and vitamin C, among other things. And what is really beautiful is that it gets rid of the mucus of your body. You will also hear, if you listen to Dr. Seppi, there was I don't know if you get the chance to look at the link, but it's a little long, but you might want to just hear some parts of it. He's talking a lot about the sea moss. And it's so good because it has the potassium, it has the chloride, the omega-3 fatty acids, and chlorophyll. So it's both antiviral, it's antimicrobial, and it's fight any infection and boost your immune system. And it's really actually really good if you also have some kind of allergies. It's really good to take the sea moss too. And also for us women, or like overall, it's also really a great thyroid support. So a lot in the Caribbean, actually, because they have the sea moss in their diet, they don't have so many thyroid problems. So the thyroid is also, it's regulating our hormones. So Sigga, you're talking about regulating hormones. I mean, it's essential for all of us. I think, you know, it's always an issue to have your hormones regulated. But it's normally because you lack of iodine and selenium. So, and sea moss really contains a lot of that. So it's a really, really good support in that way. And another thing it's great for, it's your digestive health. So it kind of coats the stomach, and it can also heal if you have an ulcer, for example. And it has great probiotics and fiber. And then it's also really great for your bowel movements. So if you feel a little constipated, it's really great to add this, you know, maybe also, good morning, we have Carolina, and we have just Susanna joining too. So I'm just talking about the sea moss. So it's really good if you have any digestion problems, or if you have you don't go so well to the toilet. And also about the bowel movement, it's also a good indicator that at least you go to the toilet 3 or 4 times a day. So if you only go to the toilet once a day, I really think you need to look into, I mean, starting this diet, it will happen automatically. So, but I just want to say that, you know, the Irish moss is also great for that. Then it's really great for mood enhancement. So often it has a lot of potassium. So also when you lack potassium, you might have some mental health issues. So this is really strengthening your mental health and your emotional. And if you kind of lack of potassium, you can have maybe anxiety, depression, etc. So really, Irish moss boost your. I'm trying to put Carolina once again. Sorry. It really boosts your moods, and it has even it has more potassium than 2 bananas. So it's really great. And another great thing, which is all these foods are good for, is your sexual health. So it's like and I don't know if also for women, but at least, you know, it's like a natural aphrodisiac for men, because it's really rich in zinc. So it boosts your testosterone. So yeah, so that's really great. I mean, most of the food we're working with is also really like, I think Friday, I'm going to talk more about aphrodisiac and mood enhancement of different products, but it's both the CBD, it's all of it, but it's like some of them a little bit more, and especially also Irish moss. And it's also really good if you want to lose weight, because the iodine content boosts the metabolism and increase your energy. So, and then you also have this laxative effect. So that's really great. And then another problem also, maybe mostly women, it's anemia. So it's if you lack of iron. So Irish moss is really, really good for that. And I have, remember after being pregnant and losing a lot of iron, and also one other occasion where I was bleeding a lot, I really boosted my iron levels with Irish moss and other like vegetables and herbs, but Irish moss is really great. Another herb is really great is sarsaparilla, which is a root also, which is really great if you lack of iron and energy overall. And of course, also one of my favorites, spirulina. I'm going to talk about that Friday, I think. Then another really great thing is for your joints. So it's as it's anti-inflammatory. It kind of decreases swelling and pains. So it's like if you have arthritis or joint pains, and it's also speed up your recovery. And another great thing, talking about also like the crystals to protect yourself and protect your body from radiation. So it actually absorbs all the toxins in your body and kind of expels them. So also if you're going through chemotherapy, etc., it can reduce some side effects, and it can also help with the tricks to take out the radiation and chemo. So it's just a really, really, really powerful cleanser. The iris, the CMAS. Good morning, Susanna. Good morning. Yeah. So yeah, I really love that. And when you mix it with the bladderwrack, it's really so potent. The bladderwrack has a really strong taste. I use it often just to put the bladderwrack, and I cook it with quinoa. It's a little more like Japanese style. I often just use the CMAS on its own, mixed with some kind of lime and lemon, because it's very mild in its taste. So if you want to give it to your kids, or in smoothies, juice, tea, or just take a spoonful, because it's actually very neutral in its taste, I would recommend to do a pure iris moss and not mix it with the bladderwrack. But if it's for yourself and you're used to eating things that has a little bit of a different flavor, I definitely recommend to add some bladderwrack to your cooking. Yes. And bladderwrack is actually, it's been used medicinally in all over the world for many centuries. And it's also the stimulation of the thyroid gland. So it helps with the weight loss and the cellulite. So I guess, you can all need that. So because again, the high iodine boosts your metabolism and if you have any inflamed joints. So what I had in mind this morning, we have a little bit more than half an hour, is actually to show you, to make a little session on how to make the iris moss gel. It doesn't take that long, kind of. And then I wanted to show you some recipes on making the whole homemade plant milk, and also to make some really nice drink. It's kind of doesn't take so long time. So some ideas to how you can use the CMAS. And also, I don't know if we have time for it, but I want to mention it so at least you have the information, and then I can put out recipes afterwards. It's really, really great for your skin. I just put a mask. I took a little bit of CMAS and mix it with E vitamin oil or whatever cream you have. You just put it on your skin, and it kind of you can really see it start to stimulate your skin, and it gets really soft. And it's really good for skincare because it's called nature's collagen. So you can eat it, and then you can of course also use it externally. Then you can also use it as a hair mask. I have a recipe where you mix it with green tea and the CMAS, and then you can kind of use it as a hairspray and leave it in. And it's really great. And it's actually because, also even having gray hairs, I don't know if it's my imagination, but I put it on the other day, and I really felt like some of these small gray hair I have kind of, disappeared. So it's also, the reason why we have the gray hair is because we lack minerals. So actually, if you want to go more into that, the Japanese, they eat black sesame seeds for that. So it's really good to have some spoons and include black sesame, and then also the iris moss. And so you can use it both for your beauty products, your hair, and then you can eat it as well. So that's also that's mostly when we're talking about raw, that actually, your smoothies and everything you make, you can also use that on your skin. You can eat it as well. So I think it's a very good indicator for if it's healthy or not actually for your body, since your skin is absorbing the biggest absorbing organ on your body. So and when you use the iris mush, you just take a little bit because it's really, really like concentrated. So when you just leave it on the face until it cracks. So it's like giving yourself, it's like being in the sea a little bit. So I'm gonna give you like a recipe with this like hair mask with some avocado and stuff, and also for your skin. So I'm just gonna turn my camera. So now we're gonna go a little bit in the action mode here. Let's see. Just want you to be able to see. I need to turn this a little bit. So, and what I thought, if we can, hopefully we have time, then I can do a little bit of a chocolate mousse as well, which is a really healthy chocolate mousse. And actually, it's so great because when I did a retreat recently, in Budja, we had one girl that she has recently with diabetes, and she has diabetes 1, and she takes her medicine, but she doesn't take it. She doesn't need it so much, the insulin, because she's doing quite well on her diet. But actually, just after eating one of the cakes, that was actually like a chocolate mousse that was with avocado and sea moss, she said, wow, my blood sugar doesn't rise at all. So, combining these and using these ingredients, it doesn't affect your sugar level. So that's also a really exciting thing. So if you want to make some healthy desserts, sea moss is super, super great, because this is actually what you find a lot in the food industry. It's just very processed. In many occasions, it's carrageen. So if you look at some of your ingredients on your food and says carrageen, it's actually the sea moss, because when it's done, it looks like this. Like, you see, it doesn't run out. It's like a firm jelly. So it's also really good for making jams, or like mix it with chia. I have a recipe for kind of a blueberry jam where you use the chia seeds and you add sea moss to it, so you both get the benefits of the sea moss, but it's so great for the consistency. And also tomorrow, when we're going to talk about raw cakes, really a topic that I love because it's more healthy cakes. It's still sugar, but it's more healthy cakes. You can use the sea moss a lot of as an alternative for nuts. I'm not too much worried about eating too much nuts, but might be if you want to lose a little bit of weight, you go on a detox, you don't want so many nuts. So the sea moss is really great to include. But of course, you shouldn't eat a jar every day. You should eat like 1 to 2 tablespoons. And that's because of the iodine content. So of course you have to do it all in a balancing way. But you can give this to your kids, your animals. It's really great for animals as well. I know you have a dog, Martina. So it's and even you can mix it with water. If you need to mix it, you don't need to blend it. And you can also water your plants. It's a good indicator. Also, your plants grow a lot more. So it's also how you're going to feel. So don't worry about, serving this for kids. So it's so good because, it gets all your minerals and it's absorbed directly in the body. So it's more healthy in that way. It's going to be over here. So what you need to make your iris moss gel. This, as you saw before, I just want to show you guys that was not in there from the start. So this is the iris moss in the dried format. So you cannot just eat it like this. We're unable to be able to digest it. You need to soak it. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. One is you can choose to make a raw version, or you can choose to make a cooked version. I don't know, in the beginning, I used it as a raw version, which is also great. But with the raw version, you just have to be very carefully with your soaking and cleansing, of course. So you soak it, you clean the seaweed, let it sit overnight, and then you rinse it again. And this is very important. It's fresh spring water or alkaline water, cleansed water. So because yeah, it's so important with everything you do. So you soak it and you soak it, you rinse it, you put it in the new water, you put it in a jar, like this in your fridge, close the lid very carefully, and you put it to soak there for 3 days. Then you can take it out, you rinse it, and you blend it in your high-speed blender with a bit of lime, maybe just a little bit of water, and then you have the raw sea moss. And of course, in its raw form, also you're 100% sure it has all the minerals and vitamins, and even more soluble than the cooked one. But even Dr. Sebi and the community, they also recommend a lot the cooked one. And yeah, I think 2 years ago I was in Jamaica, and I was so excited because it's one of their essential drinks that they have. So you can get sea moss drinks with lime, with all kind of exotic fruits, like freshly made, and it's like so nutritious. I really loved it, and I got so inspired. And luckily, one of my friends has another Jamaican friend, which shared this this original recipe from Jamaica, how to do it. And when you make the cooked version, I mean, it's also a little bit more jelly-like. It's like more stiff. It's better to work with for the desserts, and also the taste. It's very neutral. So I prefer to have the cooked version in order to eat it more, in order to present it more for people in general. That's a little bit skeptical about new tastes. And also for my daughter, my kids, they don't even know that's Irish moss. I always I put it in tea, or maybe in tea or cacao. What else do I do? Yeah. So you can also put it in soups because it's been cooked. I mean, you just need to resolve a little bit, and then you get really thick consistency. So also when I made, there's a recipe for hemp mayo, which is made of hemp seeds. I also added a little bit of sea moss yesterday, and that just makes it really creamy, the consistency. So, when you need to present new things for yourself and your family, community, wherever you're cooking for, it's all about the texture. So if the food has a really smooth and nice textures, nobody's going to think it's super healthy, They're just going to think it's like some kind of add-on, and it's just a beautiful, like nice chocolate mousse, or they don't even know about seaweed, avocado, anything. They just think it's one of the main thing. So it's really great to play around with this, and it's so easy to make. I mean, of course, you need the sea moss. You need to order that online, or you need to get it. I recommend to do it online, because I mean, the companies here in Europe do have restrictions on reports on heavy metals, toxins, etc. I mean, we found actually some of the beach, and we made it, we rinsed it, and we're fine. But of course, to be sure that you get a product that's not full of any toxins or chemicals, it's good to buy it from a European distributor where they have really strict rules, and of course with the thing that they import. So I feel safe, even though you cannot say it's organic because it's wild harvested. So, but you're pretty sure that it doesn't contain other things that you don't want. So it can actually keep in the fridge for, I would say, I normally pack it in smaller glasses. I mean, I do like a big pot, and then I pack it in smaller glasses so it lasts longer. And I also mix it with lemon. So now my head is gonna be maybe a little bit cut off, but you can see, right? So this is a kind of a fairly big pot. I just took this out and I rinsed it again. So I'm just gonna put it in like this with the water that's already there. Normally I don't I rinse it again. I rinse it many times because I want to make sure, but this water is clean. So I mix it in the seamas, and also I'm gonna give you a recipe, but you know, you can also like just have an idea. So this is how the seamas looks in the pot, like this. And it's a little. So you have this, and then you add water until it covers. So there's already water in there, so I don't need to do that much. I'll take some of this water too. So you add water, so it just covers the whole seamas because it's going to be absorbed. And today I'm thinking to add a little bit of the bladderwrack because I haven't done that for a while. So, and it's just even more healthy. If I was doing this, yeah, like I already have a big batch in my fridge, so I like to have. Then will have two versions, and you can just add a little bit, really. I mean, then see if I can move this a bit further on. Yes, you can just add a little bit. Then then the taste doesn't get too much, because I mean bladderwrack is really like a really intense flavor. It's really yeah, it's just really a lot of seaweed. So then I add normally like 2 teaspoons, depending on how much mass. I'm gonna give you a recipe, but now I'm just gonna do it because I've done it many times, so I know. So I'm gonna add some gum arabicum, and gum arabicum it's a rubber, it's from the rubber tree, and it's gonna make it even more like a little bit sticky. So it's you don't need to add it, but this is the Jamaican way, so I like to do that. And then I'm gonna add some flax seeds, and flax seeds also just makes it even more yeah, when you soak the flax with water, it's really great for crackers and all this, and it gets this also really jelly consistency. So I add kind of a handful of the flaxseed. I'm gonna add a little bit more water. You see, it's kind of this, it already absorbs so much, but it just really needs to be like, you get an idea here what I'm doing. You see. So this is how you mix it. So it's pretty simple. So I'm just gonna turn on the heat. So I'm just gonna let it sit while you're talking. So first of all, you're just gonna, but it's very important to watch it. I have this stick. I'll show you. But you can use anything. I use this is normally one I use for cacao. I bought from Colombia, but I mean you can find kind of similar. But this is really good for So I have to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So it's gonna take a little while for it to heat, and when it starts to heat, it slowly kind of resolves the iris moss. So when that is that process, you need to be on a lower lower heat, and just like yeah, just medium heat, and you really have to keep on stirring the iris moss all the time. So eventually it will be like this jelly consistency, and then you take a strainer, one of the small strainers. Yeah, I have. I strain it through, and it gives the pure jelly. Then I put it on the glass, and I let it sit until it cooled down. It will like really fast, like just be into jelly. But before you put it in the fridge, please just let it sit. And when it's cold, tighten the lids very close, carefully, so it doesn't get any more air in there. Yeah. So as I said, this is the final consistency ready to make. So I think while this is cooking, I'm gonna show you because it's gonna take a little while, and maybe, yeah, hopefully, I'm thinking that it will be able. I'm just gonna get some power to my little Mac. Hopefully, it will finish before we stop the class. But otherwise, I mean, it is pretty simple. But of course, it's just nice to see the process. So I'm just going to remove some of this here. So it's yeah, it's really exciting. I do also want to say I have this smaller blender also in my kitchen. This one, like a NutriBullet. I think even the NutriBullets are better because they have glass instead of this plastic. This one I just use if I have to make like quick recipes. Sometimes it can be really difficult. Not difficult. It's just, you know, big blender. It's always harder to clean. So if I have to do something quick, I do then this smaller one. So we have this seeds from yesterday. So, and these are the pumpkin seed, and the pumpkin seeds, you know, they're also so good because they're also rich in zinc. So they're really good for men too. And also it says to prevent prostate cancer. It's good for the prostate. So I really recommend to drink pumpkin seed milk daily. Women as well. I mean, it's so good for with zinc. So I'm going to put out a recipe. I don't know if any of you guys made a plant milk before. Some of you being on this raw food diet, most likely been. So for the plant milks, I like to use the pumpkin seed. I like to use the hemp. I like to use the Brussels nuts. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I do. I mean, it can be anything. It can even also be the sesame seeds. So it doesn't need to be, you know, you don't need all these nuts. And also, I don't recommend to eat the oats. So, I mean, and now, you know, it's plant-based, it's vegan, we have oats everywhere, but it's also oats, and also even though you can get a gluten-free version, this also can create some inflammation in your gut. So again, it's depending on your situation, how well you're doing with your system, how much you cleaned out. Yeah, but I really don't recommend to eat it a lot. So because you can replace it with other things, with quinoa. Yeah, and also, you know, as we talked about one of the days, like being vegan, it's like being really unhealthy. It's again, if you want to cleanse, I don't, even though you can see if it's vegan, it's gluten free, then it must be healthy. But no, it's not, because the corn and the rice, it's not also creates the inflammation in your gut together with the oats. That's of course a balance. You know, I'm not saying it's super unhealthy. I'm just saying if you need to be more clean, if you need to, you know, actually being on this diet, I'm never kind of bloated. I never fat. It's not never, because when, you know, you fat, it's because, you know, for instance, I eat some beans that's not good for me, or some kind of, yeah, of course I also eat sometimes some things that I'm not supposed to eat, or not supposed to is the wrong word, but like that affects my body in a way that, you know, I don't like it. So, and also instantly, when eating a lot of these other things, you know, you get really like bloated, and so I don't recommend it too much. I mean, I do recommend that you try the recommendation of 7, but a lot, as we talked about, not so much store. So for the milk, this is, I think a good rule is about 2 handfuls of this. You know, this has been soaked from the day before. So, and rinsed again in the clean water. So I just add it here, and then I like to add a little bit of sea salt, like a pinch of Himalaya salt. I only recommend that you use Himalaya salt or any other like good mineral salt, and not all these kind of refined salts. It's a really bad for your body. So I just take a little pinch of salt, and yeah, then I add water. Oh, one thing before, I just want to show you. So this is actually the flax and the seaweed. That's a leftover when you do it, which is really also. I'm gonna put out a recipe for some breads just before I forget it. So back to this thing. So I need to get some more water. This again, my little machine here. Now my machine is cleansing, so we're just gonna wait a little while. So actually, it's the basics of to make these nut milks is just to 2 deciliter of any grains or seeds. Then you fill it up with water, you add a little bit of sea salt, and you blend for 1 minute. Then you strain it through this. You can get some in nylon too, that might be a little more effective, but I don't know, this is some kind of organic or cotton. You can get in any health food shop, and I really love that. It's a little, you have to be a little careful when you do the straining in this one, because it can often blow up and get all over. But just if you have a nice kind of a can or like a bigger bowl that, you know, is a bit spacious, because yeah, it can be a little. So, just gonna give it a little bit of water before we do it. How are we doing with time? We have 10 minutes. Ooh. Yeah, so I'm gonna do it a little fast on this, but I'm gonna give you the recipes. So now you kind of know the principles, so you can do it yourself. And also the reason why I wanted to show you to make the plant milk is that it's so great to mix with the iris moss. I mean, you can make like a beautiful iris moss drink. So you take the plant milk, the iris moss, and then maybe some different spices that you like. It could be cinnamon, or, you know, anything like more of these superfoods you can add, or like a really traditional way to do it is actually to do it with lime juice, and that's really, really refreshing. So lime juice or orange juice, but I mean, not talking about juice like you buy, but like freshly squeezed, and mix in with the iris moss and water, and then you can make like super delicious, nutritious lemonade. So these are really, really great for the kids as well. Yeah, this is really great for the kids, and also for any other that wants to taste it. And maybe if you want a little sweet, you can add coconut sugar to give it a little color. So, I mean, Dr. Sebi recommends date syrup. I do also use agave sometimes, you know, if you also for the cakes. So that's not 100% on the list, so depending on your health situation. But actually agave is low glycemic, so it doesn't really affect your blood sugar as much, but it's still sugar. And there's been a lot of discussion about agave, which is healthy or not. I tend to, I would say it works. You know, it doesn't higher your blood sugar too much. But of course, you have to kind of find a balance. You can also use, not too much a fan of stevia, but you can use stevia to sweeten your things. So if you see here now, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you like this, yes. So you can see already, or you cannot see anything. Oh, it's hard. Yeah. You can see it's getting like a little bit of a solving. Oh, it's very difficult on this camera. Is it like this? Like this. So you can see it's getting into a little bit of this consistency, but it's going to take, you know, half an hour to cook this. So you just have to be a little patient while you're doing it. So meanwhile, I'm finishing my little flat milk here. So I don't want to fill it up too much because of the blending. So it's like this. And then I take it to the blender. So here it's really great to have your Vitamix. Yeah. I'm just gonna blend a little bit. I'm not gonna do 1 minute, but just because it's, yeah, you to do it probably 1 minute, but you can do it faster. So basically what is really important is that everything is kind of resolved, so it doesn't have any kind of big chunks in it. So it's also depending on what blender you have, but I mean the seeds are so good to work with because they're so soft. So yeah, so if you choose to make a seed milk, you know, the sesame is also really great. The taste or the flavor can sometimes be a little rancid. So you have to be really careful with the seed milks when to store it, they often last 2 or 3 days, not longer. So, but if, for instance, if you make a Brazil nut and milk, it will last much longer. So I have this thing here. Normally I have, which I don't have now, but I'll have like a jar to put it in. But now I'm just gonna show you a little bit. So I just put it through here. So you see it's already running through, but we have to press it. So. And the beautiful thing is, again, you can use the pulp of this to make breads and stuff. So it's going to be the pumpkin. So you have it here. Maybe you already know it. Just a reminder so that you can do it yourself. But I have to admit, of course, I can also sometimes, not sometimes, I do buy almond milk. This is the only milk you can get that's a little bit better than all the oats and stuff. And use that, but you know, when you make your own milk, first of all, you just enjoy it a lot more, you know what's in it, and then afterwards, when you make the milk, then you can add your spices. Then you can add, I mean, you can add, if you want it a little sweet, then add a date. I don't really do that, but you can add a date if you want it sweet. It's so great to mix with the cardamom, vanilla, cinnamon, you know, all these kind of sweet spices. It's really great. So I'm just pumpkin seed milk has a really amazing color. You know, it's mostly green. So now I have it here. I'm just not going to do it all the way. But now here I have the pulp. It can be a little bit more, so it's really dry. So this pulp you can actually use for cakes or anything, kind of crackers. You make it in the dehydrator. If you like it to have a dehydrator, you make it in the dehydrator. If not, you can make it in the oven on a low temperature, or you can use this as a breakfast. You can, and that's what I love about this food. You know, you can just combine it and be creative. So, for instance, here I have some chia. So I could mix that in with the pulp. You know, so you get protein and the good fatty acids from that, and you know it's also organic, so you don't waste your food. You can use it. Then you can mix it. Yeah, so I'll add a little bit of chia. I'll mix it with this pulp. Maybe, yeah, maybe I'll add a little bit of the milk, and I'll add maybe a banana or any other fruits that you like to eat. So you have, then you have a beautiful porridge. That it's a raw porridge. So now you have here the milk in itself, and then I'm just gonna pour it down. I just need a little. So I'm just gonna measure. Normally I'll just pour it down, but just to be sure. So this is actually so simple. So I just take a little bit of my almond milk. And what a recipe I made recently is so great is where I mix like the almond milk. I'll take, because you know it's a little bit more, it's for 2 or 3 persons. So I can take 3 teaspoons, I'll just take, I think 2 is enough, 2 tablespoons like this. And I add a little bit of rose water. You know, rose is, I love rose water, because rose is one of the highest frequencies also that we have. So it's really great, and you know, so delicious. You know, you can use it on your body, or so I just add a little bit of rose water, and I'll add a little bit of cinnamon as well. So this is more into the Indian kind of style. If I can find my cinnamon, I don't know if I put it. So I'll not add cinnamon now, but I can do that. Or cardamom is really beautiful. You know, rose, cardamom, cinnamon, these more kind of chai spices. So I just blend this. So now I have my milk, and you know, because also the pumpkin seeds can be, they're not so thick, you know, when you make it with, for instance, the nuts, you get a really creamy milk, but here you get, it's just really beautiful and creamy. I'm just gonna taste it. Wow, it tastes really good. I can really recommend that. And also with the rose, this is giving some kind of a sparkle. I mean, you don't need to do that, but just the iris musk gives it really this creamy consistency. So it's so great to work to mix it with the seed. And then it's I'll recommend to make a lemonade. So you take some either mandarin or lime juice, and I'll take the iris musk and I'll take the cleansed water, and you just blend it, and then you kind of get a really fresh lemonade. So this is so great for for the family, and anyone who wants to taste a little bit of iris musk. And you see here, I'm still stirring this, and now it's actually starting to dissolve quite a lot. So I'll be stirring this until it has to have some kind of small bubbly. It's like when you're making a porridge, when you've been cooking it for a while, really has a lot of small bubbles. And I can see this start to have this, but you know, the sea moss needs to be resolved. So when this has a clear consistency, this is where I take it to my strainer. I use a spoon to spoon it out, and then I preserve this part because it's so nutritious. I don't think you should spoil it. And this is one portion I made where I had a lot of flax in because I wanted it different. So yeah, and then you can save this. So you don't really waste anything because you know it's really good ingredients. So you should try to be a little creative with the leftovers you have, so you don't spoil the food. I can see I don't have a time to do the chocolate mousse, but I'm just gonna tell you how to make the chocolate mousse, and then I'm gonna add the recipe in the guide. So the chocolate mousse. So what do we normally make a chocolate mousse? Normally I think we use eggs and this different kind, you know, eggs, sugar, chocolate basically, right, and some kind of fat. So what I really like to use also for the cakes, and which makes them last really long, is it's avocado. So I use avocado. I use I'm just gonna heat this. I use cold pressed coconut oil. I'll use a little bit of salt, a little bit of Malay salt. That's the last thing. But a little bit of Malay salt. I use the raw cacao, which I'm going to talk about Friday, and a little bit of almond milk. And I use the sea moss because then the sea moss again gives us this really creamy consistency, of course, together with the avocado as well. And then you can sweeten it with dates. You can use agave. Mix it with a little bit of coconut sugar. That will give it a little bit of caramel flavor. You can add some of your favorite superfoods. You can add the rose water, cinnamon, cardamom, and you get like this really delicious creamy dessert. And then I recommend you to make it, put it on glass, small glass in the fridge. So this is really great. So whenever you feel like you need a little bit of sweet, of course, you don't use a lot of agave if you want to use this on an everyday basis. But if you, for instance, you can use dates or a little bit of coconut sugar. And then you can actually use it as an in-between, or if you're really feeling you need a little bit more, a little sweet, you can have a little glass, take it out, and also serve for your guests. It's really great. And then you can kind of mix it with berries and fresh things. So because it's only good fats, it's only the avocado, the coconut oil, it's on its raw form, and then the iris moss as well. And then you can blend in a little bit of milk. So you can either do a really thick consistency that's really firm, so that you can use for a cake, or you can do a little more smooth where you add a little bit more almond milk, and then it would be more like a pudding. So actually this is one of my favorite. I mean, the cacao is acidic though. I mean, it's not recommended too much, but I just decided that, I decided that that's my drug because it's still okay. And if you get it like a raw cacao, I'm going to talk about that as well, the difference between just cacao and a raw cacao. It's like a whole another world of difference. I really don't recommend eating a normal chocolate if it's not raw. I can eat a little bit of dark chocolate, 70-80%, but it tastes so burned, so when you really try the raw cacao, it was also what they use for the cacao ceremonies. It's like a whole another world. It's really like super nutritious. So before this little CMAS inspirational class, I'm just gonna show you, it's 7 o'clock already. So I'm just gonna show you now that it's already kind of been dissolved quite a lot. So now you just have to keep on stirring and make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. You can kind of get it on. And I really recommend you to only to use wood. Of course, the pot is not wood, but it's a steel. But it's so important in your kitchen that you have natural materials. You know, it's so important that at one point I remember, like, but this was more in my raw food period, I just the feeling of eating with knives and fork metal felt so wrong. I really felt like I needed some natural things. It's also why actually, you know, the best thing is to eat with your hands, because then you kind of, it's actually, I think it's kind of makes it more digestible with the bacteria from, not bacteria, but like from your bacteria from your hand. So it's so much more healthy, like also when the baby eats with your fingers, like the finger foods, it's so natural. So it's not because I, you know, recommend it you only eat like that, but it's like, it just give you an idea that you really need to, what you put in your mouth and needs to be natural. And that's also why if you have some kind of silverware, it's so good to eat with that, because it's kind of give you, it's actually antibacterial, and it's so much more healthier. It's like when you, I don't know if you take what is it called, the colloidal silver as well for infections. It's the same as the silver, but that's good metal. That's really good. So I'm gonna put this recipe out and how to make it. I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna make in the guide. I'm gonna update it in the drive, and I'm also gonna add some links where to buy the things, so it's easy for you to make, and with the recipes. So yes, that was a little bit more hands-on session. I hope it's you get even some inspiration, even though it might be, I don't know if it's boring to look at, you know, the cooking, but at least, you know, I get to talk a little bit about the ingredients. And tomorrow the big theme is going to be raw food cakes. So so we're going to make at least one cheesecake. I'm going to show you how. This is one of my most famous recipes, so you're gonna get the secret on that. And it's all about the consistency and the right combination of things. So that's really exciting. So yeah, we're gonna look at that, and we're gonna see what if we have time to make one or two. And also tomorrow, actually, yeah, it's Thursday tomorrow. Talking about cakes. Hopefully, I will confirm this later today, but I'll have my one of my collaboration partners, Eli Tavi, on the show. I want to say on the line. He'll be here physically or will be online. I don't know yet. I have to see. But he's the one who's going to help you with personal training, emotional challenges. He's been working a lot with weight loss and people getting in shape, and also because it's, of course, a part of this is also the mental work. So I thought that would be a good combination, talking about this together with the desserts. So you kind of get a little two-sided on that. So yeah, I'm super excited to see you tomorrow, and I'll be sharing a little bit in the group and also on an email. So yes, I hope you're enjoying your full moon. Put out your crystals, make a little ritual if you haven't already done it. And I send you a frequency. It's in the Facebook group that you can, I encourage you to make a meditation with this today. So yes, and when I have a microphone, that's good, because we've been doing some live sessions on our Shama. I don't know if you've seen the link, but the Shama Deep Healing Events, it's my event page where we do the sound healing. But unfortunately, the sound without a good mic is not really great. So I'm working on to get the right equipment. So you can join us there for a live sound healing session. So that's going to be really exciting. So have a beautiful day.
You too.
Hi, everyone. And thank you for being here.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you.
Take care. Hi.
You too.
Yeah.